Today we're going to talk about holy boldness and what happens when you give your life over to Christ. When you first make the decision to give your life to God, you might be coming to Him in a vulnerable time. And you might have these things going on in your life that are hard to see past in order to get in line with the will of God. And God knows that. And that's why when you turn your life over to God and you decide that you're going to renew your mind to Him, renewing your mind is going to take some work, especially if you have anxiety, depression, if you've gone through traumatic things in your past, if you grew up in a life of abuse, not because these things are going to hold you back, but because your default way of thinking is going to be different than somebody that didn't experience these things. So when you're going through your faith walk, it's going to be easy to be discouraged. So what you have to do is start to work on yourself and to work on the way that you think and to change your default settings, and that's going to take some work. It's not just going to happen overnight, because however old you are, that's how long you've been thinking that way. So you've got to aggressively work at it. You got to think of life like you're walking through a field of flowers, and although there's all these beautiful flowers, you stumble upon this tiny weed, and you feed and you water this weed, and it slowly starts to grow up and consume you and consume your heart and consume your mind, and eventually, like I said, it creates your default settings. So when you give your life over to God, you need to prune this weed, and you have to come at it aggressively. And you can fill yourself up with the Word, but you've also got to take care of that vessel, because you are a vessel of the living water of Jesus Christ. So if you think of yourself like a vessel, and you're supposed to be bringing other people to God, would people want to drink from a cracked up, broken cup, or do they want to drink from a cup that's beautiful and intricate and unique? As you take care of yourself, it will boost and enhance your walk and your faith, because you are going to gain natural courage that only walks hand in hand with the faith courage that God's going to give you. So if you begin to think about when we talk about losing yourself, all you're going to lose is what used to control your mind and the world. You're going to start to lose that weed as you begin to rebuild your identity with the Word and with your confidence. And this is what happens when you become consumed with the love of God. And in order to do that, you're going to have to take a little bit of control. You're going to have to control what's around you externally, and you're going to have to control the things that you let fill your mind internally. And that could be something as simple as, what are you watching on TV? What kind of music are you listening to? What are you reading? Who are the people around you? Whose voice are you letting be louder than God's and what He thinks of you? Because if you think about your insecurities, they always say this: somebody's voice is those insecurities. So instead of those insecurities, start to drown them out of what God says about you and what He says about how much He loves you and how you are a part of the kingdom and He is the King of Kings. That means that you're royalty. You got to start treating yourself like royalty. So you're going to take those external factors and start doing a couple things for yourself this week. Think about your senses. What are you seeing? Is your house a mess? Because my house gets a mess like a million times a day. So the only way that I can ever relax is when I clean it up a little bit. And the thought is always way worse than actually doing it. So now you got a clean house. What are you wearing? Have you been wearing the same leggings for like 4 days? Change. Put a nice outfit on. Even though you're in your house, putting a nice outfit on always makes you feel a little better. Get something comfy. Go find a blanket. What are you thinking about? Maybe put on a funny movie, or, put on your favorite preacher. What are you filling your mind with constantly? If you need a book recommendation, there's tons of women in our group that are reading some great things right now that can motivate you daily. I think personally getting a devotional and taking a little scripture each day and meditating on that throughout your day is always the best thing you can do to slowly align your mind with Christ. We talk about working for God as being love, being His hands and feet, and being the vessel of this living water, but you cannot pour from an empty cup. So you got to love yourself too. And to love yourself is to take care of yourself and fill yourself up with as much word as you want to fill other people with. And it will help you to be that light, a shining light, not just this dim little light in the corner. God says to come boldly to the throne of Christ, and grace and mercy will wait for you there, and help will be there in your time of need. God does not care about the things that you've done, like we talked about yesterday. He doesn't care about any of that. He doesn't want you to care about that either, and He doesn't want you to be consumed with that. He wants you to be consumed in His love. So what are you going to do to love yourself this week so that you can love others? Post your comments down below, and let's think of different ways that we can do something small, because we know we're probably all time crunched right now with this quarantine. What do you like to do in your spare time that builds your self-esteem? Maybe it's paint your nails. Maybe it's find your favorite pair of slippers. Comment below and let's share some of our thoughts. Together, I believe that we are going to ignite a fire deep down in ourselves that we haven't in a long time, and have that roaring lion on the inside.